Hi, I'm Liz, the Heart Song Whisperer, senior mischief maker and part-time fake nail disaster whisperer. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you're back for more, well, bless your pea-picking heart. You must be a glutton for real-life tales from behind my bifocals. Let's get on with today's story. To all my girlfriends who want fake fingernails, perhaps because, like me, you bit them, or they kept breaking. This is a warning. I had to go to an 80th birthday party for Feenie McGuigan, one of my dearest friends for years. Now, Feenie, I must tell you, is nothing like me. And what I mean is she's always lived in the big city, while I have mostly lived in the original homestead that my great-granddaddy built just in front of the old barn that housed our dear farm animals. Feenie has always made it a point to get her manicures and pedicures to lift her spirits. Well, the only only cure I could manage was to get a huge dose of Buckley's cough syrup so I could help clem my husband, with chores when I was sick. So now, folks, you know why I decided that I better get pretty gussied up for this party. I really did need one of those extreme makeovers that I see on TV. So the first thing I decided to do was, have one of those manicure things. When I got to the nail shop, I noticed that people there had masks on and were buzzing away on people's fingers with, what looked like a drill. I was sure I had the wrong place and was about ready to bolt when a man asked my name. When I told him and said I was just in for a simple nail job, he sat me down in the chair, and the gal on the other side, after looking at my hand, told me there wasn't much they could do other than glue some false fingernails on it. Well, I decided I'd go for that, whatever that was. They sure didn't want the drill thing. Those drill nails, well, they'd probably last longer on this earth than me at my age. And besides, I knew I wouldn't be able to dig in the dirt. That's what I do at home, folks. So I agreed to her proposal. Well, after what seemed like forever, I strutted out. But, I was admiring, those beautiful finished nails and headed towards my truck. I had never seen such beauty. I realized my keys were somewhere in my purse and, proceeded to dig them out. Now, folks, when you go from stubby nails to 10 tiny daggers, life gets complicated. After chipping some of my new polish off, I reached my keys, jumped in my truck, and away we went home. Well, I was driving into our laneway when I noticed a blank spot on one of my, from my new nail. The new nail was nowhere to be found. After a frantic no-luck search, I ran into the house to call that salon again and see if I couldn't get it fixed. Oh, time was going by. As I went to get my jacket off, I noticed my disappeared nail hanging from the jacket shoulder by just a wee thread. Thank goodness I could glue that back on with my handy Elmer's glue. Boy, oh boy, the next thing was I yanked on the handle of a cupboard door to get some of that Elmer's glue stuff when another nail went flying through the air. Holy cow, what the heck? Really, the language is much stronger. I thought as I raced after it and caught it before it landed in my apple pie. Another job for Elmer. Thank goodness for Elmer. He was the only glue I had. The next thing was getting dressed. I gingerly put on my Sunday church dress. Well, I had to take that off because you know what? When I tried to do up the buttons, those nails had a mind of their own. I felt like I had octopus arms and zero coordination. Now, I didn't have a choice, so I had to put on my purple sundress and red cardigan that I had saved for the red hat occasions. I couldn't put on my face as those nails just wouldn't hold, they wouldn't hold that darn tube of lipstick. Oh my goodness. So off I went, barefaced, but fancy nails. When I finally arrived at the party and was seated, one of the guests was giving a speech. Well, it was sort of boring, so I rested my head, on my hand. I noticed that people were staring somewhat and saw that one of my nails was pointed, like in an odd direction, having come loose, I guess, from the weight of my head. I quickly pressed it back in place, and oh yes, under the table again, I had a date with Elmer. Soup was, it was served in like fancy bowls. And when I went to push a piece of my straggling hair back into place, oh, one of those dang nails caught and zoomed. And you wouldn't believe it. It plunked itself into the soup of the man across the table. Oh my gosh. I didn't know what to do. I was so embarrassed. Well, when I went to help him get it out, he pushed my hand aside, and those long prongs caught on the side of a candle, sending it flying. And if it weren't for Feeney's ninja reflexes, even at age 80 she was, we'd have roasted hors d'oeuvres, well, or the centerpiece, and probably even possibly the host. Well, the following 4 tips I have I've made up for you to give you at least help, for you before you make the decision for yourself before you have to travel the nail route. I can't speak. I wish you the best. Number 1, life with long nails it's not just different. It's a whole other galaxy. Think normal versus Star Trek with claws. 2, maybe take a crash course in advanced claw handling, or at least watch a YouTube tutorial. I'm sure if you search, you'll find something about it. So number 3, do your glue research. Elmer's may fix a paper swan, but your soup-bound nail, not so much. 4, or better yet, just be yourself. And you could watch my next video where I hypnotize my nail into growing the right way. And spoiler alert, no glue required. Well, with all of this, I sure hope this overview gave you food for thought before you spend your hard-earned money, I guess, for vanity. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. If you found yourself smiling, give this a thumbs up and leave me a comment too. I'd love to hear your nail stories and maybe their catastrophes. Until the next time, take care of yourself, keep laughing, and remember, if your fake nails take off on their own adventure, you could blame Elmer. Until the next time, bye for now.